Hi, I'm Therese Hauk, and I'm a nurse, and I'm also a yoga instructor. And I am excited to share tonight some information about how to rev your life with activation. Revving your life, turning back the hands of time is another way to say it. Is it possible? Is there such a thing as a fountain of youth? Well, maybe not exactly a fountain of youth, but we have we have become a part of a company called LifeVantage that is all about activation. And activation is different than supplementation. When you think about supplementation, you think about taking something to nourish your body. You're adding nutrients to your body, right? Activation is where you are unlocking cellular pathways to help the cell do what it did when we were in our 20s and 30s. So let's dive in. I'm also really thrilled that we have a special guest on tonight. And there we go. Dr. Rebecca Glasser is with us tonight, and she is a plastic surgeon for over 20 years. Her specialty was breast cancer reconstruction, and she's been with LifeVantage now for over 12 years. And she will tell you that the main reason she was interested in this company is because of the science behind it. And I have to agree, that's the main reason that I got interested in this company as well. I am a breast cancer survivor, and after I went through 6 months of chemo and lost all my hair and a double mastectomy, I was searching for something that would prevent recurrence. And I did a lot of research. I looked at foods, different lifestyle activities. I found lots of things, but my friend introduced me to this company. And one of the things that I did is I researched some of the articles that are in PubMed.gov, research documents that showed a reduction in breast cancer growth, and not just breast cancer, but also colon cancer, skin cancer. And these are on PubMed.gov, which is the National Institute of Health's search engine for, excellent research. So I was all in when I saw that information, and have had some other benefits as a result of these products. So we're going to be talking about 3 different ways to activate your body. One through NRF2 activation, our activated liquid collagen, and then our wonderful new GLP-1 activator. So, and then we'll talk a little bit about LifeVantage, the company that we're involved with. So I'm going to let Dr. Glasser talk a little bit about NRF2 activation.
Wonderful. So, I start with this because, the majority of people have never heard of NRF2 activation. And why is this even important? Well, this was a study done by Washington State University in 2015. And you can see there on the left that they said, listen, NRF2 may become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. So this caught my eye. This was one of those things where I said, okay, I want to learn a little more about this whole NRF2 activation. So next slide, please. So what does exactly that mean, and what does our company have to do with this? So again, I'm going to throw out another kind of big word, which is oxidative stress. But as a plastic surgeon, I'm a very visual person. So the first thing I want you to do is just kind of take a look at these pictures. And so here on the left-hand side, you can see we have this beautiful apple, and you cut that apple in half, and you know that over time, what happens to that apple is that apple browns, it decays, it rots. Well, same thing happens if you took a piece of metal and you left that metal outside, that metal would rust or decay. And so these images, I think, are very important in relating to what's occurring for us on the inside of our bodies as we age. And you can see there's that beautiful normal cell on the bottom left-hand side. And then that cell is attacked by these free radicals. And over time, those free radicals will break down the cell. So the cell mutates, it's damaged, it dies off, and it doesn't work as well as it used to. So unfortunately, those things are occurring within a cellular level within our body. Next slide, please. So when we go back to this whole idea of NRF2, we realize that NRF2 turns on a series of what we call survival genes or survival enzymes. These are those good guys, those good genes within your body that remove toxins, they improve cellular function, they reduce aging. Okay, so this is a very important pathway within our body. And if you'll go to the next slide, please, you'll see that LifeVantage created our very first product, Protandim NRF2, trying to address this. And so the very first study that was done on Protandim NRF2 said, okay, if I give you Protandim NRF2 for 30 days and then I measure that oxidative stress or that rusting of your body, we can see that it reduces oxidative stress on average 40% in 30 days. And why this is so fascinating is because this has never been done before. And this was our very first study that was published back in 2009. So what Protandim is doing is it's flipping a switch. It's activating a pathway, which is a natural pathway within your body, which worked great when you were in your 20s. But as you get into your 30s, 40s, 60s, 70s, that pathway doesn't work as well. So what are some of the genes that are activated, that are turned on when you turn on this pathway? Well, the first ones I want you to think about are antioxidant enzymes. So things like glutathione is considered your master antioxidant enzyme. And I think of it, we often take antioxidants in our diet. So we might have drank orange juice or taken vitamin C or green tea. And these are all antioxidants which work against those free radicals. But the problem with them is that it works on a method of one and done. In other words, if I ate a blueberry as an antioxidant, that blueberry would interact with one free radical, both would be destroyed, and then the process would be over. Versus our method of turning on these antioxidant enzymes, which work at a rate of a million times to one for over a week. So you could see how we could actually get rid of these free radicals, actually lower oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. But in addition to that, these survival genes that are turned on also include anti-inflammatory enzymes. So again, when we start thinking about the root cause of disease, inflammation is a huge one, right? It's in every process, whether it's heart disease or Alzheimer's or diabetes or arthritis or autoimmune diseases. And you look at our society now, and why in the world are the number of people with chronic diseases going up and up and up, even though we spend more on healthcare than any other nation in the world? So to me, this gets back to the root cause of disease, trying to activate our body, turn on those pathways that once work well, but just don't work well anymore. Next slide, please. And so, Therese, I'll turn it back to you to talk about our next activator, True Science Liquid Collagen.
Thank you. You know, collagen is one of those things that everybody knows about. Most people are taking it. You can buy it pretty much anywhere. And so when we came out with collagen, I thought, well, okay, fine. What's so great about ours? Well, that's what I'm here to share with you is we are the only activating collagen on the market. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is that not only are we giving you a good collagen to replenish your body, but we're also activating your cells to make more collagen. Excuse me. And this gentleman here, you can see we always look at skin because it's external. We can see it, right? When we're talking about how collagen helps us. But there is a big component of internal function with collagen. Our bones, our muscles, our ligaments, our tendons are all made with collagen. Even our organs have collagen in them. 30% of the protein in your body is collagen. So not only are you going to see amazing benefits externally from skin, but people are reporting that their back feels better, their knees feel better, they can move more easily. And I didn't think collagen was such a big deal until I saw this chart, which was kind of an eye-opener. We're born with the collagen that we need, of course, 100% of the collagen. By the time we're in our 20s, we begin to lose collagen. And look at me. I mean, I'm at 60. I'm down to only 40% of collagen. That that's like 60% of the collagen gone. I mean, no wonder our skin sags and we get wrinkled and we have aches and pains when we're losing collagen that rapidly. We don't just make these claims. We don't just have testimonials of people reporting. We also we do research and show what our collagen does. And this is a slide that goes to the cellular level, and we're looking at collagen density. And so you see the first slide, this person had about 30.5% collagen density. And you can tell because there's a lot of black in the picture, a lot of the dark green that shows very low density. By week 4, you can see the screen is lighting up with yellows, more yellows. That's a higher density. And by week 8, we're up to 68.5% density. So we have been able to show that our collagen density increases on average by about 42%. And that's pretty amazing. We also, important to know, most collagens on the market are powdered, number one. Powder is poorly absorbed, usually less than 15%. Liquid, we're a liquid collagen, and liquid collagen has a much, much higher absorption rate. Some people will say anywhere from 70 to 90% absorption rate. So that's super important when you're looking at collagens. The other important thing to know is that most collagens out there, there's only one or two. We have actually 10 different types of collagen in our body. And most collagens only have one or two different types of collagens. We have, now I've lost my notes. We have, I think, 7, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, 7 different collagens.
I think Rhonda's saying 10.
Okay, I got my numbers wrong. We have 10, and I think there's over 20 different collagens in our system. So that is amazing. Pictures say 1,000 words, right? And I love this woman. I mean, this is after over about a year. So just like everything, when you are working on activating your body, this is not an overnight process. We as Americans are used to that quick fix, take a pill, boom, we feel better, right? And anytime you're looking at activation, it's not a quick fix. And so this is over about a year, but look at the difference. Look at her skin. Just a more glowing, smoother complexion. The circles under her eyes are significantly reduced. Those little lines, marionette lines, have lessened. I mean, it's just, to me, it looks like a new person almost. It's just crazy. This is Betty. I got to meet Betty at the last convention. And she said to me, I said, gosh, that's so amazing, your results. And she's like, well, I'm a little embarrassed about it. I don't like all this attention. But look at her. Look at the amazing transformation that she went through with collagen. And admittedly, she not only was taking collagen, but she was probably on our other activators as well. This is an 86-year-old gentleman who we all know, as you know, people age. I mean, if you've had an elderly person in your life, you know how fragile their skin is. It just can rip just by getting hit accidentally. And so that's because of low collagen. And so this gentleman, you can see the improvement in his skin just by taking collagen over 45 days. Cellulite is another big one. None of us like or want cellulite. And cellulite is due to losing collagen. So look at this picture. How amazing is that? And I'm not sure how many weeks or months this was over, but it was probably over 2 or 3 months that she got these pretty dramatic results. So I love our collagen. I know that my skin is much improved. I feel good. My joints feel good. Um, it is a wonderful product. But what we've all been waiting to hear about is our GLP-1, and I'm going to let Rebecca talk about that.
Yeah. So again, we go back to what is our mission? I mean, we are the activation company. So each time we're trying to activate something, we're trying to activate, a pathway within the body that just doesn't work as well. And so the next thing we're going to talk about is our GLP-1 hormone, which is for weight loss, but GLP-1 does a number of different things. So let's turn the page there to the next slide, please. So, when you're going through any sort of a weight loss program, I would say, the number one problem with diets is that you always feel hungry. And I think we'll all agree to this, whether it's, 1,000 or 1,200 calories or whatever it is, you're absolutely starving. And so you can be good for a couple weeks, maybe a month, but it's just so hard to be anything sustainable when you're calorie restricted and you're miserable because you're walking around being hungry all the time. And so when you think about our natural GLP-1 hormone, that's what it does. Our GLP-1 hormone helps to decrease hunger. So you're not starving all the time. But in addition to that, it also gives the feeling of satiety or fullness. So you eat, a small portion of good food and you're like, wow, I'm done. I'm full. And Teresa and I kind of joke about it, but when we first started on this product, when we were first eating like our normal amounts, I'm like, holy cow, I feel like it was Thanksgiving dinner. I am so full, so overstuffed. This is uncomfortable. This is lesson learned. I've got to slow down my eating, eat smaller portions. But in addition to that, GLP-1 helps to decrease sugar cravings. And we talked a lot about inflammation earlier, and sugar is enemy number one when it comes to inflammation. And what I find is, people, once you start eating sugar, it's very hard to come off of it. And one of the best things you can ever do for long-term health is get rid of sugar. And sugar is everywhere, from cereal to crackers to anything in those inner grocery aisles, including cookies. But if you can decrease sugar cravings and get off of sugar, it's a wonderful thing. The other thing we talk about is food noise, because when you're on a diet, that's what's in your brain, right? You're thinking about that food noise all the time. What's my next meal? What do I get to eat next? Oh my God, I can't wait until the end of the month. You're thinking about food all the time. And again, this helps with that noise. It helps quiet it down. It helps you make better food choices. And so again, looking at the research, they just announced at convention that our natural GLP-1 increases production of GLP-1 by 200%. But understand it takes about 4 months for that to occur. So it doesn't happen overnight. Just as diet shouldn't happen overnight, it takes about 4 months. So if you're going to embark on this weight loss journey, that's what I say, commit to 4 months of it. And then remember that these products are really designed as a tool in combination with diet and exercise. When I talk to people and they say, this is just not working the way I want it to, my first questions are, do you drink alcohol? And they're like, well, I do have wine every night. So that one obviously has to go. That's way too many calories. And my second question is, do you eat sugar? Well, I just have a little bite every night. So again, this is a realistic. This is used as a tool in combination with diet and exercise. Next slide, please. So, this is one of the ladies, Charlene, who was on our human trial. And you can see her results are life-changing. I mean, absolutely dramatic, because all of her weight, or most of her weight, is carried in her belly. And we talk about visceral fat, or what we think of as toxic fat. And our trial showed that this really is attacking that visceral or toxic fat that is around your organs. And so, she had an incredible result. She lost 39 pounds. But in addition to that, I want to again touch on, what does GLP-1 do? Well, gosh, it helps with energy. It helps with sleep. It helps her make better choices, get rid of that food noise. It's not in her head all the time. And she's doing a nice slow progress of about 2.2 pounds a week. And this is tremendous, life-changing for her. Next slide, please. Our next picture is Shauna, who again was at convention with us, and she was on the program for 4 months, and you can see she's down 27 pounds, which is incredible. But also look at that, 4.5 pounds around the waist. So again, where are we preferentially losing this weight? It's around the waist. It's that visceral fat. I think it's also important to note that in our human trial, there were no side effects. Okay, so compare that to the shots, no side effects, no muscle loss, no muscle loss. Because again, muscle is so important in longevity. Next slide, please. So as we continue to talk about activation, one of our taglines is, take it to make it. So, if you take Protandim NRF2, it's going to help you make antioxidant enzymes, anti-inflammatory enzymes, address cellular health. If you take the True Science liquid collagen, it's going to help you make more collagen. If you take our mind-body natural GLP-1 system, it's going to help you make more GLP-1. But I want you to note that we did talk about Protandim NRF2 first, because that is really our flagship product, our first activator. And we've since done studies combining Protandim NRF2 with each of these other activators, and we find that there's a synergistic effect. So for example, if I had someone I was really trying to address, joint pain, I would combine that NRF2 with the liquid collagen. If I was really trying to address weight loss, I would combine that Protandim NRF2 with our mind body system in order to get a synergistic and better effect on those genetics. Next slide, please. All right. So, I love this slide. It's really caught my eye of this whole idea. Again, as Tree said, the fountain of youth, the idea of aging in reverse. And so again, you can see Angie on the left-hand side, and I think she just gets more beautiful every year. She has been on a weight loss journey. She has been troubled with weight her whole life. It's been really tough for her. And you can see here she is at convention on the right-hand side. And here she was when she was a school teacher, and she has been on quite a journey. She looks absolutely fantastic. To me, she's just glowing all over. And then there's Shauna, who also got her parents to be on these products, to be on activation. You can see when Shauna was 40 and her mom and dad were a little bit older. And then look at them now. They just get younger and younger. It's not what we're just seeing on the outside with weight loss, but it's also activation of their cells on the inside in order to improve cellular health, improve energy, improve sleep, be the best person you possibly can be. Next slide, please. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk some about where we started, where this company started and the direction that we're going. So Therese, I'm going to let you take over on this one.
And just one more note on our GLP-1, this is a two-part system. It's all about activating the gut to make the natural hormone that we have in our system. This is not about giving a synthetic GLP-1, which is what the shots are all about. And really the downside to the shots, aside from all of the side effects, but also when you're taking the shots over a period of time, your natural GLP-1 goes to zero. And so when you, obviously if you go off the shots, you're going to be at ground zero with your GLP-1 hormone. And most people end up gaining a lot of their weight back because they're starving. All the things that Rebecca mentioned about what GLP-1 does, they won't have any of that. And it just takes time to rebuild. So, this is a great thing to transition to if you've been on the shots or if you want to get off of them. This is a great product to transition to. So going back to who we are, LifeVantage is not a fly-by-night company. We've been around since 2003. And we had we started out with just Protandim NRF2, and we had a little blip in activity in 2005 when John Quinones came knocking on our door, and he was the primetime investigative report man, and he wanted to debunk our product. And so he came in and he did blood work to see what his oxidative stress levels were, and then started our product. And after 3 weeks, he came back and he couldn't debunk our product. He had a significant improvement. I think it was over 30% in just 3 weeks. So pretty dramatic results. And if you look up John Quinones today, he is still taking our products, which is quite amazing. We were sold at GNC stores at that time, and so Dr. Glasser just spent 10 minutes explaining how this Protandim NRF2 works. If you can imagine it being on a store shelf and the little store clerk trying to explain when someone asked them, what does this do? It just was not a good model for us, not a good business model. So we ended up switching to direct sales, which is where we are now. And our company has flourished since then. We are debt-free. We're based out of Lehi, Utah, just next to Salt Lake City. And we're publicly traded on the NASDAQ, which I think is a huge bonus for our company. network marketing is not typically publicly traded. And because we are publicly traded, we are transparent about our earnings. We are debt-free. Um, it's it's a company that I'm very impressed with. And most importantly, we don't, like I mentioned earlier, we don't just, create a product and say, this is great, this is what it's going to do for you. We do the research. We are evidence-based. So, how does this work? Well, we are completely computer driven as far as learning about our company, and also if you obtain customers as a consultant, if you obtain customers, you don't have to have a garage full of products like in the past. There's no minimum sales requirement with our company. As a consultant, you do get a little bit of a discount, a 10% discount on all products. And so some people do become consultants just to enjoy that discount. But we always encourage you. I mean, if you're going to be on the product, you're probably going to want to share this information with other people. And so we encourage that, to share. But we also love our customers. So if you're just like, no, not doing the consultant thing, but I want to be a customer, that is totally fine. We are happy to support that. We have a fantastic team here in Grand Junction. We're so fortunate to have Dr. Glasser here in town who can answer some of the tougher technical questions because she's been with us with this company for a while. I'm going to let you talk about this one, Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, we don't live in a bubble. There's been a lot going on over the last 5 years. So if you look at the state of our economy right now, the retirement age is now 70 plus. People are working longer than they ever have, and most people have more than one income and more than one job. Housing prices are up from inflation and they haven't come down. So the cost of your mortgage, the cost of rent is up dramatically. Food is up by 33%. Again, maybe eggs have come down, but it's still pretty darn expensive to go to the grocery store. How about insurance? How much do you pay for health insurance now? We're finding people's savings is down and their credit card balances are up. This one really gets to me. Chronic disease is at an all-time high. We've seen a lot with the MAHA movement and seen a new change in people's attitude towards health. We're realizing that we want to live longer, but if we live longer, we want quality of life. We don't want to be in a nursing home. We don't want to have chronic disease that's ruining our life so we can't enjoy it. And so what we're finding is even people who are earning six-figure incomes are still living paycheck to paycheck. So there's just so many people who are feeling this pinch. The number one reason for voting this year was the economy. Next slide, please. And so I find that so many people are in this financial tug of war where most people are used to doing it all on their own. They're 100% dependent on themselves. But one of the things I love about LifeVantage and our team biohack is that we have a team of individuals who all help each other, who all work together to educate and to show people that there's another way of life. So I always say recruit a team and win. Next slide, please. And so Teresa, I'll let you talk about a little bit, again, we're a publicly traded company. And so this income disclosure statement, I think, is very important.
I'm gonna have to put my readers on to see this. Print is a little small. Yeah, and we, very similar to other network marketing companies, there's different levels that you acquire as you, acquire a team and get more customers underneath you. But the column that I want you to be aware of is this average monthly incomes, which is the third the third column. To be a pro 3 or a senior consultant 3, average monthly income is $659. And that is a level that is not difficult to acquire. So who could use an extra $659 in their budget a month? For me, when I started this company, I just wanted to pay for my product, you know, um, and I just started sharing with my friends and talking to people. And as people got more and more interested, it was like, oh, I started to grow a team, and now I'm at a Pro 5 level. So making about, not quite that amount, 3,200 a month, but around there. Some months are better than others. So it's helping, and honestly, it was this company that helped me to move from full-time to part-time at the hospital. So it's great. You want to do this one?
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up today's slideshow, and then I would tell people to stay on. We'll open it up for some individual questions at the end. But we wanted to make sure that we presented a lot of different information. As Therese said, so many of you guys on the call tonight are interested in the products. How do I turn back the clock? How do I feel better? How do I have more energy, sleep better? How do I lose weight, right? So many of you may want to move forward and become a customer. But I always think we would be remiss if we didn't present that there is a business opportunity here. As Therese said, she was able to go part-time. I'll tell you, I was able to leave my plastic surgery practice 8 years ago and to make this side income into a full-time income. So there's all kinds of options that you can do. So next slide, please. So what I always tell people is, are you ready? Are you ready to get activated? Are you ready to move forward? Make sure that you connect with the person who invited you to this presentation tonight for more information, and we can help you get started. So with that, we will stop the recording, and then we will open it up a little bit.